Hi everyone, good afternoon from Enzo, HyperGuest. This is going to be the first show, the first episode of Hype, the live blog of hospitality and travel. So the idea of this live streaming is just to be, first of all, not getting boring you. So we want to make sure we provide you always interesting contents, interesting topics to share and share knowledge, experience with you. It's not going to be too long, first and very important. Is very high required your participation. So I see already people connecting, and I wish to have some hard questions during the show. We always have a different guest depending on the topics. In a bit, I will introduce you the today guest. Is going to be very interesting. Actually, today we are taking this particular aspect of the hospitality. It's something really make me curious because it's about discussing digital nomad trends. So how this new type of traveler profile is impacting the industry. This is looks like a really interesting opportunity for hotels, a new way to distribute, a new way to accommodate a new type of guest. We have a special partner of HyperGuest, which will share with us a little bit some insights of these trends, and also in the second part of the episode, explaining a little bit how this business model is performing, is working, and which kind of opportunity can be, available for the hospitality. So first of all, meanwhile, I will introduce the guest. Whoever is watching right now, feel free to share in the comments space in LinkedIn from where you're tuning in. We really like to know from which city, from which destination country you are connecting. And again, if during the live streaming there will be some interesting question from you, we will really appreciate that. On the backstage, we have also Tal from HyperGuest, so in case she will interact with you in the comment space, so feel free again to post questions and we'll try to raise them during the show. So before introducing the guest, let's look quickly at the clip and then we start.
I'm falling. Down to obscurity, don't let me ever be this alone. I'm falling.
Good afternoon, Sarah Miller from Yovivo. How are you?
I'm good. Ciao, Enzo. Thank you for having me.
That's great. Well, me and Sarah met each other already. We had some conversation, and I was really interested to get to know about your platform. But before entering this aspect of your business, tell us a little bit of yourself, where you're from, where you live, why you are doing this business nowadays.
Well, I think if you listen to me long enough, you'll guess where my accent is from, and even longer, specifically which state. But I'm from New York originally. I actually left in 2008 and moved around the world for about 12 years. In the last 12 years, I've lived in 4 different countries. So it's been a really amazing adventure. As I like to say, high risk, high reward. You kind of take a step out of the conventional when you decide to become a digital nomad and eventually maybe even an expat. And but my day-to-day, my quality of life, the choices that I've made have really, really paid off. So now I currently am based in Mallorca, Spain, which I know is trending even more and more for Americans. It's becoming very, very popular with direct flights. It's a very beautiful and calm environment, and especially a hub for travel technology. So that was the beginning inspiration that was planted in me. I was working on a fintech project actually when I first got here for about 3 years. And I was working in an innovation sector on the island because our beaches are pretty amazing, but the innovation and technology development that's happening here for the travel sector is really impressive. So being surrounded by that, I started to kind of get infused with inspiration for it, and was presented an idea and started to develop it with my partner and my co-founder, Patrick Visser. And we've been working on this now for 2 years. I'm also a mom. I have 3 kids. So I know what it's like to move around. I think at one point we lived in 7 Airbnbs in about 2 months because we bought a house here and needed to stick it out and wait. And I just wish that the solution that we kind of put together was available because, you know, when you have 3 kids, the option not to make the bed is really nice. So
That's great. That's great. So very interesting your background, Sarah, and how is your lifestyle in Palma? I mean, from New York to Palma, it's a big. There is a big difference, right?
it's true. It's true. I have to say, I'm very blessed. I don't want to say spoiled because, like I said, you know, taking this path, it's been a lot of risk. There's been a lot of, you know, making the choice to prioritize well-being and family over money and changing countries and environments to put those priorities first. So I would like to say, you know, I am very blessed to have had the inspiration to come to a place like this, the quality of life, the work-life balance, and especially the attention in Spain to family time is really the most important benefit.
That's true. That's true.
And we
And
have
anyway,
fabulous weather.
I'm also Italian, living in Spain, so it's a great country. We love Spain. We love Barcelona, Palma, Balearic, wherever. This is a great country. Right, Sarah. I think we can start. So basically, as introduced initially, we are going to share a little bit more about these trends of this type of profile of traveler, which is really completely different from the traditional way hotels host people. So it's not like, you know, a vacation. It's not like a short weekend or a romantic weekend. But you know, I'm gonna share some of your slides, so in
Mhm.
this way you can, you know, give us some more understanding of these trends, right? Let me
Sure.
do slides. Here we are. Okay, let's go ahead.
So yeah, if you want to just dive right into the next one.
Yeah.
So here's a little bit about digital nomadism. I mean, for some people, you might know that digital nomadism has been around for a while, actually since the 80s. I don't remember the exact date, but there have been, you know, pioneers in this. But because of the changes and the globalization and the rise of tech, digital nomadism has been very, very quickly growing, obviously, and then also because of the pandemic. So now we're seeing that there's 35 million digital nomads worldwide, which actually, if you think about it, would make, through population, the 41st largest country in the world. If all the digital nomads lived in one place, which I know seems strange, but that's the population of a country. So it's a very interesting stat. 48 countries are offering digital nomad visas. Spain, especially, is one of the big ones. So I've gotten to see the impact of that. Remote work, as we all know, has increased by 44% in the past 5 years, and it continues to grow. 46% of digital nomads are self-employed, and 35% are employed in a company. And companies are seeing a savings of around $10,000 or euros per employee when they work remotely. So it's very motivating for companies to continue this trend. Obviously, social media has impacted this area hugely. You know, for better or for worse, we can say whatever we want about that. It affects the choices and the motivations for, you know, billions of people worldwide.
They share a lot on social. I presume this is mainly purely for Instagram, Facebook, this kind of
TikTok, all that stuff.
visual,
I mean,
right?
and why
TikTok.
not? Listen, you know, when you know firsthand, Enzo, when you live and work next to a beautiful beach. I have a beautiful port with mega super yachts right outside of my window. I know it might not look like it, but yeah, you just, you know, there's that feeling of like, hey, I'm working, but what a place to work in. It's kind of like, hey, I made it. So of course, people want to show that off. And of course, the big impact that everybody cares about is the economic impact, which is 728 billion per year.
That's
So,
great. Do you have a sort of because I read something about those, you know, huge volume of business, and this volume vision is keep growing year over year.
yeah.
Is this something started purely in US initially and moving in
No,
Europe, or the other way around?
no. Well, you know, I think Europeans have always been more fluid. Americans tend to, you know, not cross over that much because it's not as easy. So the idea of moving around is definitely more fluid in Europe. Right now, the number one digital nomad is American, and then that is followed by Russians, UK, Germany, and France. And then it kind of goes Australians and then other Eastern European countries. Americans are the biggest digital nomads, but I think for the first time, it's not just digital nomads in the United States, they're actually traveling more globally.
That's great. Cool. I see. All right, I'll move on to the next.
Yeah, so a little bit about extended stays. The average length of an extended stay is about 30 to 52 days, when regular stay is between 4 to 7 days, depending upon the area and the segment. In select markets, extended stays are up 20% 2 years in a row. Airbnb reported an increase of 30 days or more stays last year. It was up 40%, and that was up 20% from the year before. So, this is definitely a growing trend. The hotels are interested in this, and they're adapting to it more and more because it increases their revenue. They have a lot of off-season opportunities. As they saw in the pandemic, they want to diversify as much as possible. So having a more robust revenue possibility is advisable. Also, they're increasing their visibility by offering these tailor-made rates. Where a hotel might not have been targeting digital nomads before, with little changes in their layouts, having co-working spaces or offering discounts with local businesses, they are now becoming more and more visible and attracting these kind of tourists. The extended stay sector is projected to generate 18 billion in business revenues this year. This is you can't ignore this. And in the US alone, there's been more than 7 billion in investment. Extended stay hotels are really on the radar. In 2021, Blackstone and Starwood Capital Group invested 6 billion into acquiring the Extended Stay America portfolio. And then not even a year later, they spent another $1 billion to not acquire even the whole portfolio of a group that's called Woodspring Suites. And that was to add on another couple hundred hotels to that offering. So this is a big space right now.
And we are talking about dollars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Cool.
So 51% of digital nomads stay in hotels. This is now, for the current digital nomadism, this is what the trend is. Digital nomad profiles are usually well-educated, affluent, high-quality guests. Their average salary, depending upon which market it is, but is about 70K a year. So these are guests who have higher spending capacity on hotel services. And that, again, is more interesting to hotels because it costs them less to have these kind of guests. There's less turnover, but they are spending more. These guests are also choosing this option because they have greater security assurances, quality control, and overall knowledge. You can look at a hotel and see the reviews on 7 to 10 different sites, as opposed to choosing a private rental where you're usually only getting the reviews of the people who are, renting these places. And it might be their cousin, it might be their brother-in-law. You never really know what you're getting. Also with scams or hidden fees, when you are booking with a accredited hotel, you just don't need to deal with that. I mean, the last time I used a private vacation rental, I had to stand on the side of the road for 45 minutes at 10 o'clock at night with my 3 children in Madrid in December, waiting for somebody to drop me the keys. It's just, people are burnt out on these kind of experiences. So this is part of the motivation to getting back to hotels. And choosing to stay in hotels is truly the best way to support the local economy, and this is something that I stand by very firmly. When you're considering private rentals, in some cases, this is somebody who has saved and is looking to have something to have a passive income, and that's great. But in a lot of cases, it's real estate firms and management firms, and or people who don't even really live in the areas, and they're not considering how these people are patronizing local businesses. So when you consider a hotel and the choice of a hotel, this is a true business that is local, that supports local employees, that supports the businesses around it. And there's just a much better ability to combat the issue of inflating the gentrification problem that some of these private rentals and digital nomadism has contributed to.
I see. I see. Listen, I heard also, of course, for some specific traveler coming from another continent, coming in Europe, that many countries in Europe now are applying for a digital nomad visa, right? So this is
Yes.
a very important requirement for someone which is, for example, desiring to come here in Europe and is not part of the Europe community. So Visa Digital Nomad is now available in which countries?
Oh my goodness. Almost all European countries for sure. And I think there's 70 countries now that are offering, as of like right now. It was, I think, 40 last year, and I think it's up to 70 now. I'd have to look into that, but there's actually more countries that are less countries that are not offering than are. So you're seeing right now top destinations are really diverse. They are obviously in Europe. You have Portugal, which is a trending favorite for short stays, long stays, everything, because the conditions are fabulous. They've had a digital nomad visa for quite a while, as well as some other business-friendly kind of expat conditions. Beautiful country, great amenities. Wi-Fi and connectivity is always the number one request, and they deliver on that. It's low living expenses, so it's a perfect fit. So Portugal is kind of always at the top. Then we have Thailand. Not necessarily an obvious choice because of infrastructure for working, but they have everything that a digital nomad needs, depending upon which area, Chiang Mai or Bangkok. But that's a top destination, and I know that they have flexible conditions as well. Colombia, Mexico, especially Mexico City, which is also a big space for VC and startups. Spain, huge one. Malaga, I think, is the number two, is the number one city in Spain.
Also, Canary Island, I heard
And
a lot.
Canary Islands, but Malaga is the number one right now. I just read last week is the number one digital nomad city in Spain as of right now.
If I born again, I want to be a digital nomad, Sarah.
No, but listen. So the average age of a digital nomad is 32, and since I've been 39 for the last 3 years, I'm not that far. No, but I'm kidding. The second largest digital nomad group is the over 40 group, which is actually the one that I'm in. So it's okay. There's plenty of space.
I need to, step up a little bit higher from the 15 above.
Listen, Enzo, if nobody's asking, you don't tell.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree with you.
Other thing to know about digital nomads that's really interesting is actually I read this study, and a great place for these kind of stats is a community called Nomad List. They have an incredibly active community, and they're constantly polling their users. It's really large community, and they're very serious, very dedicated about their participation rules, so that the digital nomadism that's circulated there it's not self-promotion. It's really about how to participate in this lifestyle, or even movement, as you call it. And so I read a stat there that was most digital nomads are close to half of them are married. So this idea that digital nomads are sort of these malcontents who can't commit and just wandering around from place to place, being like Peter Pans. I think it's interesting to see that this is a very serious spending segment of
high spending. I will say. Listen, I see some comments here from chill nomads. Both have their disadvantages. An apart hotel with a room with at least a kitchenette, with and a 24/7 desk as best cards.
I'm not sure I understand the question. I mean, but it's true. They both have.
As you mentioned, that probably this is driving more on the hotel side.
Yeah.
I presume Chill maybe is mentioning if an apartment, so apart hotel, something hybrid, which provides probably more amenities, more space, would be a good opportunity also for this type of business segment.
Yeah, but even like Best Western Hotel just added a new brand of extended stays, and it's called At Home, like the at symbol, At Home. And that is, Best Western Hotels is like, I think is about 8 billion a year, global revenue. And they've added a chain just this year. There has been Marriott added their 32nd hotel brand, and it's an extended stay, and that they already have 5. So there are some really amazing big chains that are really dedicating to this extended stay experience, and they're ranging from the full apart hotel kitchenette, even to the capacity of storage and living stuff. And then also you have brands like Selena. Selena is a global brand. They're fantastic.
I love
really.
that.
And maybe what they don't have, like an apart hotel has, they have in the community side of it, because the number one complaint of digital nomads is often isolation or loneliness. So what Selena has done, which is different than giving you everything that you need in your room, is encouraging their guests to come and co-work and to come and participate in yoga classes and happy hour in the evening. So I think now and more, there's becoming more diverse options of what kind of extended stay you want to do. I mean, for me, the idea of cooking in my room isn't 100%. I appreciate the fridge and the storage and stuff, and maybe the desk, but I do feel like, when I extended stay someplace, I'm very happy to then kind of transition someplace out of my room into a co-working space in the lobby.
Totally agree with you, Sarah. Why Yovivo? Yovivo, it sounds to me an Italian word, but it's also a Spanish word.
Yes,
which means
it's also
English. I live. No, why
yes.
Why did you choose this name for the platform?
It was just one of those things. It was a name that my partner and I, he had come up with, and it was just made a lot of sense for us loving Spain as much as we do. He's lived here a lot longer than I have, but is Dutch originally, and it kind of came to him, and it seemed to work because he's lived in 17 countries, I think. I can't even count, and is just has really been thinking about the digital nomad lifestyle and the expat lifestyle, and how we're from such diverse backgrounds, but feel at home, and this is the thing, is that where can you feel at home? What do you need to feel at home? And what can these hotels do to help you have that feeling?
Yeah, so Yovivo, it's like, that's the way I live. So let's look at the platform, Sarah, because I want to give the opportunity to the audience right now, and the one who will watch the live streaming later on demand, to understand how they can list their properties within your business.
Sure.
So you can give us some experience on the traveler side, so how the traveler are experiencing a booking on the platform, and then let's look at the business model.
So what we wanted to do was create a kind of a look and feel of a travel booking website. We are not focusing on being a community as much at this moment as helping to provide some solutions. So we have the look and feel of what it is to book, so that there's no new experience in this. But what we do have is we have our little Yo Chat area, and we use an AI tool to help people, kind of ask some basic questions. One of the things is which cities have the best street food? I mean, for me, that would totally be a question that I would ask in order to think, where do I want to go? If I had the flexibility, and maybe, in a parallel universe without my kids, to just say, oh, where could I go where I could just have fabulous street food and good Wi-Fi and a low cost of living? This is one of these kind of questions that we provided here. Just as an example, what countries have digital nomad visas as well? And even something like, what should I pack to spend a month in Berlin? So we love this new capacity of AI, and how it challenges us a little bit to think outside of the box. We also have a space here that shows what we're searching, and I was actually searching in Berlin earlier today, speaking of which. And then we also know that part of the inspiration I see with some of my digital nomad friends, they want to know what's possible. It might not be their idea. One of my fabulous friends, who I lived with, 25 years ago, almost 20 years ago. She is always on the move. And she at one point called me and she said, I'm in Kenya as a digital nomad. And I said, really? There's the capacity to digital nomad from Kenya? And ever since then, I just thought it's really important for us to showcase what's happening for people who say, I just want to go surfing. I just want to, check off places on my bucket list. So this was the kind of idea that we had behind these spaces to inspire people, to give them some direction on where they might want to make their next trip to.
If I have to pick up one of them, definitely sun and surf.
Sun and surf. Yep. I would say.
100%.
But we were recently showcased at the Collision Tech Conference in Toronto, which was a really exciting opportunity for us. And I did meet a project director, not unlike ours, but he was dedicated to only skiing. So only skiing destinations, and creating a site where digital nomads who are avid skiers and snowboarders could basically sort of like the opposite of the endless summer, that they could just go around and just ski and snowboard all year round. So we do see in the behaviors of the digital nomads, that they do have very specific tastes and likes. And like you said, you just knew right off the bat, sun and surf is for me. That's the kind of lifestyle that I want.
Show me how a traveler can make a booking, just
sure.
to understand the experience, how the flow works.
So in the next month, we will be launching the extended stay capacity. And just to explain a little bit about that, why are we doing what we're doing? So Yovivo has the look and feel, like I said, of a booking site. But what you will find when you do find extended stays on other sites, which is not that often, I can say without saying names, there's two other providers, big brand providers in the marketplace that are delivering extended stays. The thing that they're not delivering is long stay rates. So a long stay rate is an extended stay discount. So
minimum stay. What is going to be the minimum nights?
Well, it depends on the hotel. But a lot of hotels might start at anything over 15 nights, and they will start to create a waterfall of discount. So usually,
from 15 nights and above, you said, right? So
it can
that's
be.
The minimum. Okay.
Yeah. But that really also depends on the hotel. But
the flexibility, of course, and the seasonality.
Right. What I have seen is that some of them like to start in that space. Some of them actually just want to wait to go all the way up to 28 nights or more. But usually the long stay rates are discounted anywhere from 30% to 50% off of the regular nightly rate. So what we are saying here, and what Yovivo's value is that once you are searching for extended stays, when you're doing it on the only couple of other sites that are doing it, they're not incorporating that long stay rate. Our tech is pulling and is building a space for hotels to make sure that they're adding that in, and that's being delivered to the user. So that's the real value there. And actually, when you look at the comparison between private rentals and extended stay rates, they're very competitive. In some cases, the hotels are less. And I know that seems counterintuitive, and some people are quite surprised by that. But when the trend right now, and especially in Airbnb, is that there's a lot of added costs. There are cleaning fees, and all of these things are sort of arbitrary depending upon the owners of these places. With the hotels, these are static prices that the hotels are looking at for certain periods of time, and it ends up being a better value. So we are saying that we are delivering these long stay rates. So that will be featuring in the next month. So
look, how an hotel can participate in a platform. I mean, two things: commercially, technically. So how they can participate in your business, how they can manage your business.
Well, this is then my shameless plug for HyperGuest, because HyperGuest is obviously a fabulous partner that we have been with since earlier this year. And because of what HyperGuest has done, which I just think since I've met this project, I've been really inspired by it, because it's creating a a technology that's driving synergy in this industry. This industry, hospitality industry, the tech side in the back for hotels and distribution channels is terribly segmented by solutions. And I think what HyperGuest has done is just taking the collaborative possibility and streamlining it, making it very simple. So when a hotel wants to partner with us, what we do is we onboard them. We have a fabulous team that is there to walk them through a very simple process. It's a 3-step process, which is basically talking about the products that they have, the possibility of adding on extended stays. Our team works with them to see what is best. Maybe it's augmenting their amenities, only having cleaning 3 days a week, or offering vouchers or discounts in their restaurants, laundry services, those kind of things, and working with them to figure out how that will be best for them. Then they sign a contract with us, and then they're literally plug and play into our back end and delivered onto our site.
Okay, so what will be the cost to participate?
Well, the cost is that their product is put through, and then we have a commission on the top.
Okay, so it's purely based on commission, like a traditional OTA.
Correct.
And is that a flexible commission? It's how this works. Is a fixed commission?
Well, right now it's a fixed commission, but since we're launching into this, we've lowered our commission rate for the first round of hotels that we're signing.
That's fantastic. So guys, take this advantage to start as soon as possible. First starts, how to say it? First comes, first served. No?
First come, first served.
That's great. So looks very interesting. So you're saying that you're launching this business now. Now it's a regular OTA, but the extended stay is going to be available by when?
By the end of next month. So we actually have signed agreements with hotels already, and we're just finishing the back end of the delivery system into the front end, and then that will be live at the end of next month.
Okay. So last things, how people can get in touch with you. Maybe Tal, on the other hand, if you can share contact details of Sarah in the comments, so if people want to get in touch with Sarah, they can do regularly through LinkedIn or email.
LinkedIn is great.
LinkedIn is great. Okay. So any email you want to share with us?
Yeah, sure. yo@yovivo.com.
Okay. So let's see. Danny, what's he say? I would love to hear your insight on pricing for an extended stay in comparison to ANR.
Not sure I know what ANR is.
Well, me too, to be honest. It's an acronym I'm not familiar with, but in general, let's say what would be the right price? Definitely, as you said, I think, Danny, the answer is from the bar rate. Of course, as we are talking here of
average nightly rate, he says. Sorry, average nightly rate. So yes, so Danny, that's 30 to 50% discount, depending upon from the stays from after 2 weeks or after 1 month. So 30 to 50% discount is usually industry standard for extended stays.
So imagine that the room costs €100 on booking.com. For a booking with a minimum stay of 15 nights and above, that will be $65.
Starting probably at 30% discount, and then if it goes longer, then up to 50%, depending upon the needs of the hotel.
Fantastic. All right, Sarah. So thank you so much. We are at the end of the show. It was very smooth, very interesting, understanding your business. I wish you really the best.
Enzo, what can I say? Thank you. You made this painless.
I told you it's gonna be easy with me. I'm not very complicated person.
It was great. Thank you.
Right, Sarah. So I wish you to meet you in person soon in Palma, or if you come over in Barcelona, just knock the door. We can make another live stream maybe from my studio next time, and get some more fun. All right.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for your time, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Okay. Ciao.